to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
You just lost yourself a customer. You think I own this business? You think I own IKEA? I'm a part-time employee halfway through a 2-week notice. I don't give a shit. I'm telling all my friends not to shop here. Tell them. You think I want 5 other yous running around the store? Have them call me, I'll tell them. You think you hate this place more than me? I work here. I know the sale ended last week, but can I still get a discount? Do you hear yourself? We can't go backwards. Time marches on. You want the sale from 15 years ago, too? When's it end, Diane? You want that price? You're going to have to go through the quantum realm with Ant-Man. You know how much money I spend here? More than you should. The meatballs ain't that good. Save your money. And my time. Doesn't matter how much you spend here. We don't thank our donors. This isn't PBS. Every time I come here, my order gets messed up. Then stop coming. Make my day. Every time you come here, your order's messed up. Sounds like you're making the mistake. Look inward. You're ordering the wrong shit. I'd like to speak to your manager. I'd like to speak to your mother. Tell her she should be embarrassed. She raised someone to act like a baby in public. You want to speak to the manager, please? The manager doesn't know what's going on. Haven't you ever worked anywhere before? I know that's not right. I used to work here. Well, things change. Sorry they didn't run it by you first. You used to work here. Well, I used to be happy. Then you walked in. Can you just check in the back? Can you just accept we don't have it? The back ain't some magical place. What do you think is back there? Santa's workshop? The only thing back there is a clipboard with our schedules and some brownies Darcy brought in. The website said it was in stock, and what do your eyes say? Sometimes it's wrong. The website also has pictures of employees smiling. You see that? You should go yell at your computer instead of me. It'll get you the same result. Nothing. This is cheaper at other stores. Then shop there. Why are you here? Do you need directions? I'll get you some. I'll call you an Uber. Cheaper at other stores. I don't set the prices. I'm a seasonal employee. You working hard or hardly working? I'm hardly laughing. I'm already at work. I don't have time for a second job pretending you're funny. Why don't you tell me something I don't hear every day? Like thank you. You should open up more registers, and who's gonna work them? You think I'm the only one ringing you up because I called dibs? You want me to clone myself, or are you saying you want to apply? Well, you see we're short-handed. Where's your resume? I can't believe they have you working Thanksgiving. I can't believe you're shopping. Why do you think I'm here? It's because of you. I have to stand here for 15 hours so you can yell at me instead of your family. I work retail. I don't even remember what Thanksgiving is. The customer is always right. About what? How to piss me off? You think you're God because you went shopping? You're not infallible, Susan. You're at the mall. Always right. That's why you're on your 9th try hitting the button for credit.
Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast won't fail.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And Paul, as we record this, we're recording it a little bit in advance, but hopefully we will release this on the 9-year anniversary of Two Strangers, One Podcast, April 20th, 2012. It literally feels like a lifetime ago. I've been doing my podcast, like my daughter's 10, will be 11, and my podcast is 9. It's like, me doing the podcast has been, her whole life pretty much. Documenting my life. And that's the whole thing is, like, it's one of those deals where, like, I know nobody listens to the podcast. We have our dedicated fans, and I do get feedback and stuff like that. And of course, I love everybody who does listen to the podcast. But, like, if I was to die tomorrow, everybody would just go back and then start listening. And not that I'm going anywhere, people. Trust me. I don't plan on going anywhere. But,
So basically, I'll take the podcast, make it bigger after you die, and good. Okay, I got you.
Well, I'm just saying is that, like, people, and not that I expect my friends to listen to it, because I don't, and the couple people that do listen, and they let me know about it, and they'll mention, like, I'll talk about. The funny thing is when I talk about something with somebody, and then they go, "Oh yeah, you talked about that on the podcast," and then I get like surprised, I'm like, "Oh, you listened." But so it's nice.
You love me. You really, really love me.
It's nice that the people are listening and stuff like that, and I have podcasts that I listen to that are friends of mine and stuff like that. It's not, I don't, like, some people, like, they listen to podcasts and it's all like people that are like celebrities and stuff like that. And of course, me, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. I listen to all his shit, but I listen to other podcasts of my friends and stuff like that. But like, if I drop dead tomorrow, I'm pretty sure the numbers, that's the only way I get my numbers to go up is if I fucking drop dead tomorrow. Either that or we need like a viral video, something to get the numbers up. But, for the loyal listeners, I mean, I really appreciate it. But, just, it blows my mind that 9 years, like my career in corrections was almost 10, well, my career in corrections was a little over 10 years. Been doing this podcast 9 years. My daughter, and I'm 42. Almost a quarter of my life has been recorded on a podcast. So if I drop dead tomorrow, and of course, don't let my daughter listen to this until she's over 18. But I mean, she knows that, Daddy has
hey
a
man,
potty
you gotta
mouth.
you gotta start losing weight, man, and that way you live longer.
Well, no, I'm just talking about like if I get hit by a truck or something like that.
Dude, we know you're not gonna get hit by a truck. It's gonna be your weight, man.
Yeah. And then I think the last time we recorded, I don't know if it was after. So I'm not diabetic, and so I'm pretty sure Oscar would love to hear that. I'm not diabetic. Of course, the doctor said, you have to look into losing weight. I mean, let's not ignore that. I'm not diabetic. No social diseases. No STDs. There's a couple times there. I took I took fate into my own hands and stuff like that. But as of right now, no social diseases. And diabetic, not diabetic. I mean, knock on wood for the time being. I mean, I of course have to stay on top of that so it stays that way where I'm not diabetic. Because of my surgery, I kind of have an iron deficiency. So I take iron pills, and I could tell when I get like, I get that fat guy thing sometimes, like if you get up too fast and you get like lightheaded from getting up too fast, that's like iron deficiency. So I did, and then like I don't know if I told the story on the podcast a long time ago, like about 3-4 years ago, when I was working at this company. I went to go donate blood, and I guess like they test your blood when you give it, and the lady was like, "You have an iron deficiency, and because of that, we can't take your blood." So I do take iron pills now and stuff like that. And the funny thing is like, it's weird because I want to take my iron pills because I hate that feeling when you wake up. Like if you're going from like laying down in the bed to standing up or whatever, and you feel like fucking you're dizzy and shit like that. So, I stay on top, and and maybe it's psychosomatic, but I feel better after I take my iron pills. And of course, multivitamin, vitamin, and the doctor's like vitamin D, or you could actually go outside and be in the sun. Like, no, I'm not gonna be in the sun. I'm a fucking. Well, I mean, of course, if I start exercising, I'll be out getting the sun and stuff like that. But I do gotta take vitamin D because not that I have to, but I mean, I do. Like he goes, you should really work on your vitamin D intake. So. And no vitamin, not that. Fucking go there with that joke. No vitamin D. But okay, so then
Well, I mean, I'm gonna kind of feel like that tomorrow. I'm gonna have my second shot of Moderna. So.
Oh, you go for your second. And
Yep.
Let me tell you, and I got my second shot. Oh, that's right, because it was after the episode. Got my second shot, and it was funny because the first shot knocked me on my ass, and I got the Pfizer. The first shot the next day, like I didn't want to get out of bed. Second shot the next day, I actually felt better because I heard horror stories of like people, like some people got diarrhea or they got lethargic and shit like that. I had my second shot, and the next day I felt like $1 million. So, and you said you got the Moderna.
Well, so like my first shot, it basically was. I don't know if I talked about this last time. It felt like it was when he gave it to me. It felt like it was like it's weird to say this, but it was coursing through my veins, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, so I felt like that for a little bit, and then it went away, and my arm was sore for about 24 hours. Like it wasn't like tetanus shot sore. You know how like you get the bump and it's sore for like stiff, almost a week. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't like that. It was kind of sore if I lifted my arm, and then I had like some tiredness and fatigue to it, definitely. So I'm kind of, and I've heard like horror stories for second shot, like people getting the same thing, but also like, you know what I mean? Like it just, so I'm a little worried, like out for like 24 hours from after I get shot. I'm just like, cause I said to cause my mom wanted me over tomorrow, and I'm like, I said to her, I was like, let me get the shot and I'll tell you because I have no idea.
Yeah, I was worried. I was because I'm not like terrified, but I was sort of like, oh God, if it's anything like the first shot, like I purposefully like made sure that the next day, like all I had to do was like, wake up in the morning and get my daughter ready for school, go, part of my morning routine, I get her up and I get her laptop ready and I'll sit with her during like the first 20 minutes of class because it's sort of like the loose. Like it's like they're waiting for kids to sign on and they're kind of talking about stuff and they'll have like and the teacher talks about like the day-to-day news and stuff like that or stuff that the kids can talk about in class. So I'll sit with her for the first 20 minutes and like in my mind I was thinking the next day after the shot I'm gonna fucking I'll do that be with my daughter for the first 20 minutes and then I was planning to just go right back to bed. The next morning I felt good. I was taking care of shit around the house like luckily like knock on wood I felt great.
I mean, it was so like I had, and by the way, while you were talking, the cat was like touching the microphone with her paw. Oh. So if you hear a noise, that's her. Yeah. But I swear to God, I can't fucking do a podcast without her like sitting here. Like, so when are you coming to bed there? Asshole. But anyways, my first, it was like, it was really weird because I had the shot. And then I was pretty much fine, and it was towards nighttime where I started to feel like fatigue and tiredness. And then the next day, it went all the way through to about like 6 p.m. And then I was fine after that. So it was just really weird. But I mean, other than that, I mean, if that's the worst I'm gonna get, I'll be fine. You know what I mean? But I am a little concerned. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned.
I mean, just plan for you to be on your ass. But like I said, I was playing and I wasn't, which kind of brings me into the one of the things I had in my notes was about the Johnson & Johnson shot. And I was getting real fucking jealous because there was these people like, oh, I only have to get one shot. I got the Johnson & Johnson. Like they're all fucking special.
But the Johnson & Johnson one really isn't. It's not as effective.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard anybody around here in the Rochester area. Like I haven't heard anybody getting the Johnson & Johnson shot up here. No, yeah. So I don't think anybody was really getting it, but I don't know that for sure either.
Well, I mean, there was people on Facebook, like, I know people from like around the country, and like the guy that I remember like specifically was getting the Johnson & Johnson shot. He lives like closer to Washington D.C., I believe in Virginia. So he was getting it there, and he was like, and it was like, I don't think he has reason to lie about it, but it was pretty much like like the earliest like people were getting the Johnson & Johnson. He was talking about it, so. But I mean, of course, just me being jealous of, I just get one shot. But now they're saying, okay, so here's the deal. So they're saying out of fucking millions of people who've gotten the Johnson & Johnson shot, 6 out of literally millions of people have gotten blood clots. Which, of course, if you're those 6 people, obviously that's very important to you. But,
and one person died.
But I'm just saying, statistically, and then, even if those 6 people all died, and I hate to put it I hate to put it as dark as that, if 6 people die out of a million, it's still a pretty good successful rate. And and I'm not trying to sound mean and cold to that, but now the controversy is that there's women who take like birth control pills, where the numbers of like women getting blood clots and women dying are like 10 times higher than Johnson & Johnson. And yet, you could still go and get that birth control any day. Go right ahead, get the birth control. Oh, but when it comes to the average, I don't hate to say the average person, but it's like, oh, women dying? Nah, they go right ahead. People are dying? Oh no, we got to fix this right now.
Well, I mean, I think it was more or less because it was just very weird that all of a sudden this was happening. I think that was AstraZeneca was happening overseas. But I think because they were concerned that like all of a sudden like nobody out of the blue, all these women, and it's just women getting this. They were like, okay, well, maybe we need to check this. So it'll be interesting to see if like maybe some of these women like have the same thing going on. And that's why all of them had a blood clot, because that's what they were saying. I think that's what it was. But they should be coming out with something about it. So
yeah, well, it's also, I mean, and I hate to sound like because of fucking fat and so loser. But it's sort of like, if you're taking birth controls because, you don't want your partner to wear because you have like an active sex life. And don't be wrong, I know women who take the pill because they don't have an active sex life, and I know there's women who take they take birth control because it actually like makes their periods like less intense and like that. But I'm just saying is as a birth control, it's voluntary. As a vaccine, it's like mandatory. We all have to take that fucking vaccine. You're maybe stop taking fucking random dicks every day, all day, every day, and then you don't have to worry about getting fucking. I mean, I know that sounds cold and everything like that, and I think every woman that I've ever been with has probably taken birth control and shit like that. But it's also like I said, stop taking 50 dicks in you every day, every week, and then maybe we won't have to worry about getting blood clots. Worry about the dick clots. Don't worry about.
Sometimes the opinions of Chris are not necessarily.
I know I'm a horrible, horrible person.
Oh my God, Chris.
And while I'm being a scumbag, let's talk about something that's been burning a fucking hole in the back of my mind since it came out. Okay, so as things quote unquote get back to normal, we are, there's been a rash of fucking mass shootings, and that's it's fucking disgusting. And I'm not the funny thing is actually I'm not gonna get into that. There also seems to be, and of course it's one of those deals where shit like this has probably been going on for a long time, and it's only now that it's going in the news that we see more of it and stuff like that. And I understand that this country does have a problem when it comes to police-related violence, in particular, black people and police-related violence. Now, that being said, the stuff that's going on in the news, don't get me wrong, it's horrible. It's horrible. Is there selective enforcement? Because, it's funny, you see tons of videos where people will share stuff. And this is the shit that blows my mind. When you see people share a video of like a white guy, and it was this video recently where like this guy was like fighting with the police and arguing with the police, and then and literally just fucking drove away. And the people's argument was like, if that was a black guy, he would have been shot a long time ago. And I'm over here saying, no, those police should have shot that white guy too. You know what I'm saying? When you see these people fucking resisting police, or that kid that went to the riots, he came from like 2 states away and he bought a fucking gun and shit like that. That kid should have been fucking shot also. Go on.
I was gonna say, so you're talking about the incident with the police officer where he was resisting arrest and the lady pulled the gun instead of the taser.
Well, okay, so yeah, that kind of okay. Well, that's okay. I mean,
they're all mixed up, honestly.
Yeah, everything is sort of mixed up right now, but okay. So I want to start off this little rant by saying that yes, I do recognize that there is a problem, and I do recognize that even though I am technically Puerto Rican, the color of my skin, I've been in plenty of car stops with police officers. Just the other day, just like 2-3 weeks ago, I pulled over, and I got like a sobriety test fucking given to me on the fucking side of the road. You know what I'm saying? And I did the whole fucking thing. And I'm still here. I didn't go to court. Nothing happened. I've been pulled over. I've had issues with my car. Expired inspection. Because I just didn't have the money to fix my car at the time. When times when this shit happened. Light out. And the cops like to put you over for a light out. And never ever have I ever felt in fear of my life. And of course, maybe that's because, I used to be a correctional officer for 10 years. I like to bring up that little fact whenever I do get pulled over by a police officer. That's one of the first things I say out of my mouth. I said, if it means anything, I was a correctional officer with the state for 10 years, yada, yada, yada. I do understand that I'm at a advantage. I have, what's the word I'm looking for?
You look like a white guy. Just basically.
Yeah, I look like a white guy. I talk like a white guy. I'm also respectful to police officers. When you see some people, and of course, yes, a police officer is a police officer. They're a regular person like you that puts on a uniform and such and such. But I've never come at an officer with an attitude. And that being said, I do understand that I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, and people are going to say, oh, just because if you've never had a problem with the cops doesn't mean. And I'm trying to say, no, I do understand that there is a problem in this country with cops, and cops will tend to shoot a black person faster than a white person. That's just flat out say it. Okay, now I do want to talk about this fucking army lieutenant that got pulled over. Now, I don't have his name off the top of my head. he's Afro-Hispanic. He's half black, half Spanish. He's from Brooklyn, but he's down in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was Virginia or one of those.
Virginia or West Virginia, something like that. But continue.
Thereabouts. Okay, so I'm watching this video, and once again, 10 years correction officer, and maybe it's just me that like I get like, you know, whenever, and let me tell you, cops knocked on my door today. As a matter of fact, had nothing to do with me. One of my neighbors would call the cops about something, and the cops come, and I call cops, just from my years of being correctional. I see a cop, I call him sir. What's going on? You know, because rang my bell. He was like, do you know what such and such? They called us, and I said, I had no fucking idea. I said, I didn't say I had no fucking. I said, no, sir, I don't have any idea. And I just closed my door. I talk to cops with respect and stuff like that. So this guy gets pulled over and I wish before I started speaking that I wish I had like a counter on how many times the officers told this guy to get out of his car. So he's driving his SUV. They pulled him over. Amongst other things, he's driving with tinted windows, which is just a fucking no-no. There's no fucking reason why you should have tinted windows on your car. There really isn't. You know what I'm saying? Or at the very least, tinted windows in the front, because I believe the law. Well, I don't know. I believe the law is you have tinted windows like on your back door, like the back passenger doors, but not the front doors. I don't know.
The back window. It varies by state. Usually, if you have your back windows tinted, that's okay, I think, if I remember correctly. But if you have your sides tinted, then that's a no-no, apparently.
Well, I think it's if it's a 4-door car, the 2 back doors could be fucking limo black. You know, it's the 2 in the front, and that's the whole thing. Is that if you're driving around with tinted windows, you have to expect being pulled over more than often. You know, I understand they're saying, you know, you got pulled over because he's black or whatever. No, you get pulled over, you have tinted windows. You know, you're going to attract attention with tinted windows on your car.
So let me clean that up.
And a paper license, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let me clean that up a little bit. Let me clean that up a little bit, because I think I know what you were trying to say there. Basically, what they probably initially pulled him over for was correct. How they handled it, as you'll get into here in a minute, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the deal. Okay, I understand as normal civilians, they're especially in today's climate, to question police officers. You know, why am I being pulled over? Why am I, what's going on? And then the cops are also just, and once again, the cops are wrong in this situation, but they were also kind of pissed off because like they had to follow him for a little while because he wanted to drive until he got to a gas station, which once again for his argument makes sense. And they tell people that, that if you feel like you're unsafe or whatever, pull into you can drive until you're pulled over. Because that's what happened to me when I got pulled over when I had the fucking sobriety test put on me. Because, okay, so the car in front of me, like at the last second, veered off the highway and got on the ramp, and actually got in front of me. And then the police car the state trooper was behind me, and then the state trooper put on his lights. So I kept driving. I thought he was going after the guy that fucking zoomed at the last second from the highway to the ramp. So then, the guy in the state trooper was like, "Oh, why'd you take so long to pull over?" I said, "I thought you were going after the guy in front of me." So all right. So this guy, he pulls into a gas station, or a well-lit gas station, makes sense. Now
which is perfectly fine in doing.
Which is perfectly fine, whatever. But now the cops say 30 fucking times, "Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car." Now, once again, if this was a civilian, this was someone who never, obviously, there's, thank goodness for our servicemen and women out there. This is a guy who was in uniform, probably, sometime during that day, he was at a military base in some sort of active activity, and they're telling him 30 fucking times, "Get the fuck out of the car." And it was infuriating, in my opinion, to watch somebody being ordered 30 fucking times, "Get the fuck out of the car," because, what's going on? Get the fuck out of the car. Now, and once again, it's so infuriating because, and then there's people automatically there's people who go, "Oh, this shows that cops, they don't care, they don't care if you work for the military, or if you're in the service, they don't care if you're black or white. If you're still black, they don't care." Have you ever heard of a thing called stolen valor? Stolen valor, which is literally against the law. and arrestable and stuff like that. Stolen valor is when you wear a uniform and you pretend that you're someone in the service, and there's plenty of cringy videos of it on YouTube where there's people who pretend to be in service people. Well, they'll go to McDonald's and they order food with the intention of like the person working at the McDonald's gives them the food for free. Or there's people like, they'll be there for almost like, or they'll be like, oh, I'm collecting for an officer's fund, and like, and you see the video and the guy's wearing like a jacket, from the Marines and pants from the Army and then an Air Force hat. There is a thing called stolen valor. So just because the guy's in a uniform does not necessarily mean he's an officer. Shit, I could go right now and fucking buy some camouflage shit. I could go buy some camouflage shit off of eBay and walk around and pretend I'm a fucking officer. How about you get the fuck out of the car, or give the guys your ID and let them see that you're a military guy. So that argument of like, oh, they don't care if you're even in the military. He did not prove it. Being in uniform has no way, shape, or form proof that you're a serviceman, a service person. And then to hear that this guy's a lieutenant. Now, I believe they said, I did a little homework and they said he's a second lieutenant. They have these officer positions, like if you do like ROTC and shit like that, like they automatically give you, like you get the promotion as soon as you, graduate high school and shit like that. But I would love to speak to this guy's fucking drill sergeant, because I don't understand how you can give someone an order 30 fucking times, get the fuck out of the car. What's going on? Get the fuck out of the car. You were given a legal fucking order. It's a car stop. We're not here to fucking debate. We're not here to fucking, because, and I understand this whole thing of like, there's people like giving their rights, like, you don't, when the cops ask you a question, I don't have to answer that. You have to ask the cops, am I being detained? I understand all of that. What's going on? Like the dummy sound on his face. And this guy's a fucking lieutenant. And let me tell you, and I would love to be one of his fucking officers under him. Cause apparently, you're given a direct order and you don't have to follow it. Because, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. What's going on? I would love to be one of his inferior officers. Like, he gives me an order, go mop the fucking floor in the hallway or whatever. Well, what's going on? Why do I have to mop the floor? It's not your job to question what the fuck is going on. You follow orders. And even though police and military have no rank over each other, it scares me and it bothers me that someone who's in the military has a problem with taking orders, especially something as simple as a car stop, as in get the fuck out of your car. It's a different story when it happens to civilians. Once again, civilians don't understand the chain of command and all this other stuff. People need to get this shit out of their head, like cops are going to wake up and be like, we're going to kill ourselves a black person today. That's not how it fucking works. And for this guy, what's going on? Get the fuck out of the car and we'll find out. You want to get? I'm pulling over. Let me see your ID. Let me see, because all of this shit could have been avoided had he just got the fuck out of the car. And then they say, we're gonna mace you. He still didn't get the fuck out of the car. And then he has his fucking dog in the backseat, and his dog got maced too. They don't, what I'm saying? Like the cops are macing the guy, get the dog in the back. Oh no, my dog's. Well, you should have thought about that. When the cops told you the 30 other times to get the fuck out of the car. This is not a time. You're not making a fucking stand here. Get the fuck out of the car, and all of this could have been avoided. Especially that he's in the military and stuff like that. And then even the guy, one of the cops was a serviceman at one point. I'm in the military too. I was in the military too. What probably would have happened, in another fucking alternate timeline, he gets pulled over. Oh, you're an officer too? And once again, it's happened to me. I said I was a correction officer, yada, yada, yada. That's, the thin blue line, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The cop would have said, well, you got your windows are tinted a little too dark. We pulled you over because you have a fucking paper license plate and your windows are a little too tinted. Get that taken care of in the morning. Have a nice night. And drove away. But this guy wants to fucking buck the system. And I don't understand. It bothers me that this guy, who's supposed to be in our military, fucking question. It's not your job to question an authority. And it's not like they're asking him to do something illegal. Get the fuck out of your car. And then the funny thing is, the younger officer was like, just get out of your car, man. It's like, the older guy that was in the military is screaming. And then the younger cop who doesn't want this going on YouTube. You tell the younger cop is obviously very savvy. Just listen to him. Just get out of the car. Trying to appeal to this fucking guy.
Well, okay. I actually I didn't think that you were going to go in that direction. I thought you were going to, I got to disagree with you on this.
Okay.
I can't disagree. So I get what you're saying about people wearing fake military uniforms, but for me, as an officer of the law, if I see somebody wearing a military uniform, I'm going to come up to their. First of all, I'm not going to approach them. I'm not going to get out of my police and immediately point a gun at a car. Okay. Now, if this was a situation where like they had heard that some car matching that description was stolen and that's why they drove their gun, I'm perfectly fine with that. But the fact that they came guns blazing at first, I don't care if that's a black guy, a white guy, a Puerto Rican guy, and a fucking green alien from another world. Like, you can't do that. And I would be questioning too. So, first of all, like I said in the beginning, like when we first started talking about this, the reason they pulled him over was legit. I mean, they didn't know that this guy was black. All they saw was a car.
They couldn't.
With no
His fucking windows were tinted.
Yeah, exactly. So you couldn't tell like who that was in the seat. So I don't fault the officers for that. What I fault the officers for doing, number one, like you said, it is perfectly fine for you to drive to a place where it's well lit. Yeah. If you're in the middle of the fucking country and there's no fucking gas station to be seen for miles, pull your ass over. But if you like, I'm assuming that this guy saw a gas station, directed them in that direction and basically, was like, I'm gonna stop here, pull me over here so there's light. I get that completely. Obviously, the man's a black man. He's probably scared for his life, and I completely understand that. But number one, the first wrong thing he did was come out guns blazing. You don't do that. Not in this climate.
Well, I think I gotta rewatch the video because they told him get out of the car.
No, dude, they got out of their car, pointed guns at the car, and then said, "Get out of the car."
All right, I'll take your word for it. But go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you might want to go back and watch them because, and then part of their orders was put your hands outside the car. He did that. He complied, and while he was complying with that, he says to the officer, why do you have your guns out? Why are you pulling me over? And for me, first of all, if I'm an officer and I see a man in military gear, I'm gonna go, okay, I don't think this guy's a threat. Let me see your ID. You're military. All right, dude, do you understand why I'm pulling you over? I don't see any plates in your car. And, the guy would probably be like, okay, well, this is where the plates are. I run the plate, make sure the paper plate's good, and say, listen, dude, you got to try to do something so we know that it is. I'll let you go right now, but that's it. That's how I would have handled the situation. But to, like, over-escalate situation, like, I just that to me, especially when the military guy is in military garb, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, but hearing a military guy not following orders would, in my mind, say this guy's full of shit.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. If you're a black man and you pull over into a well-lit area because of everything that's been happening, and all of a sudden the police officers get out with guns, aren't you going to ask them what the fuck's going on? I'm going to ask them what the fuck's going on. They do that. If they did that to me as a white man, I would say the same thing. Like, dude, why do you have your guns drawn on me? I would start recording that too and being like, listen, like, you need to explain to me what the hell is going on, or I'm not getting out of this car. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to call 911 on you and be like, why am I being pulled over? I also would have asked for sergeant. I don't know if he did. I don't think he did, but I would have not a sergeant, but like whoever the officer in charge at that point. Get him out there. Get the superior officer out there. And
I'm 99% sure that no arrest can be made until the sergeant's on the scene. Maybe I'm confusing that with just New York, but Yeah,
I don't know.
An arrest can't be made until the sergeant's on to approve it, for the lack of a better term. But go on. I'm sorry.
But yeah, that's kind of just what was really annoying me was like, how do you know what I mean? Like, you can't sit there and pull somebody over with guns blazing and then think that they're not going to question you about why that's happened. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't do that. Like, and I'm, that was their first mistake. The second mistake was when the guy puts his fucking hands out the car, has his hands out the car the whole time, and just asking for these motherfuckers to tell him like what the hell's going on. And all of a sudden, now we got a fucking these officers with big dicks sitting there saying, "Get the fuck out of the car, I'm gonna mace you," and they maced him. Like, you basically just set yourself up to do it. Like, like it just doesn't. It just was not the right way to do things. And I am, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that they should have they should have handled that in such a better fashion. They didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's just, like I said, if you're Joe Blow off the street, that's one thing. But if you're in the fucking military orders, respect the chain of command, respect authority. And
but
I honestly feel you have nothing to worry about, especially if you're in uniform. If you're a black man and you're in uniform, like that's almost like you're kind of letting the cops know, hey, I'm not a threat. I'm a law-abiding citizen. And when the officers are giving you a direct order that you continually, you question, then it's not your job to question. Your job is to fucking follow orders. Or you're in the military. Your job is, I don't know. It just bothers me maybe because of, and like I said, I was a fucking correctional officer. We're nowhere near the military, but there's a chain of command, and I understand the police have no real authority over officers, over army, but I'm just saying is, why is it I've never had a problem? Because if the cops say get out of the car, I get the fuck out of the car. This whole thing could have been avoided, in my opinion, but
I mean, dude, the way that these officers escalated, like, I just couldn't see, like,
whoever has the gun wins.
Well, no. I know what you're saying, man.
Call that survival instinct or whatever. But if two people have a gun, and even if I was one person with a gun, the two people the people who have guns pointed at me are winning this conversation. Winning this.
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, man. You got to understand too, like, we as citizens have rights, and if you're not doing shit and an officer pulls up and starts pointing a gun at you, how do you know that's not a fucking fake ass police officer? Because that shit happens too, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, honestly, like, I would have called the fucking cops on him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't see. I don't understand, like, why these officers couldn't have handled this a lot better. You know what I mean? Like, they could have handled this so much better instead of escalating to the point of where it got. And then at the end, basically, they didn't even know that he had the plates, and they didn't even know, like, they started de-escalating after they had him out of the car. It's like, dude, you could have handled this so much fucking better, yet you wanted to handle this in a fucking, like, escalated way. Like, that's not how you do stuff like this.
But okay, so, like, nobody, and this is, I mean, we had this conversation years ago in this podcast back when Philandro Castile and all that. Nobody wins fighting the cops. Nobody, there's to sit there and question, you're not gonna fucking, you're not, there's no situation. Okay, and I think we talked about the podcast. We talked before the podcast. There was a video online where they're like this white guy talking to cops, and like he's being very resistant and stuff like that. And there's even like a police dog there and stuff like that. And this guy just has the balls to just fucking up and drive away in the middle. And of course, the consensus of this video is like, look at how this white guy could just drive away from the cops. Had he been black, he would have been shot. And in my opinion, is that guy should have been shot. I don't care white or black. You start resisting the cops, then you're gonna get shot, or quite frankly, you should get shot. Because if you're gonna resist the cops, it takes 2 seconds. I've been pulled over, I've been stopped, I've been pulled out of my car and shit like that. If you have anything wrong, if there's something wrong, you're gonna go to jail. I'd rather go to jail, or you go spend a night in fucking county jail and see the judge in the morning than be dead. Because nobody wins arguing with fucking cops.
Well, what I'm saying to you is I think it could have been handled both ways. There's an argument for both ways handled. You know what I mean? Like there are ways that this could have been handled a lot better from both people. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it should have been handled a lot better, and it wasn't. And that's the cops, man. That's them not doing what they're supposed to be doing, no? Like,
and it's the same thing, as once again, we're talking about for the podcast, the issue with the female cop that pulled out what she thought was her taser and was her gun, and then even by the body cam footage, she was like, I thought I tased him, I shot him, like you could tell from her instant reaction that she thought. But also, what's the common factor here? The person was fucking resisting. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so that one's completely different, Chris, because that dude, they had him out of the car, they were arresting him, and then he got out of the cuffs, ran into his car, and sped away. Mm-hmm. And from the sounds of it, this small community where these police officers rarely get to see anything, this police officer who has 26 years experience basically went, I'm, basically pulled the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And, I see, and that's one of the things that I hate about the media is like, well, she should have known better. It's like, you don't know better in the heat of the moment. I'm not sitting there. If in the heat of the moment, if some dude is resisting arrest and gets out, I'm not thinking, is my taser on the left or the right? Like, I'm not thinking that. Like, I'm just gonna get something and do what I need to do. By the way, like you said, it doesn't sound like she was meaning that on purpose. It happened. I mean, it's not
the
like
common factor is you're resisting. They don't stop.
Yeah, and no, I do that. In that situation, I can agree with you. He was resisting arrest. They had to do what they had to do. And yes, okay, it's tragic that the kid got shot, but I hate to say it, but like, why are we charging this officer with murder when this dude resisted arrest and got in his car and sped away? Like, yeah, she made a mistake, but guess what? That doesn't mean that she should be thrown in jail for the rest of her life over it. I'm sorry, but I can't.
And let me just be real here for when I hear about this issue, like 26 years on the job, she was like a union rep, all this other shit. I guarantee you she was an officer. That's not a regular officer that tours, that does regular patrols like that. And they said she was training also. I guarantee you, and I have no official word on it, but it's just, when being in law enforcement,
I guarantee
it's
you
one of those things where. But I'm just saying, it's one of there's people who, when you work a job like that, there's people who patrol, people who really do work, and then there's people who fucking sit at a desk all day. And maybe they did patrol at one point, and then now they're behind a desk all day. And like, technically they can go out and patrol and do all this shit. They generally don't. And I will put fucking money that she's a fucking desk jockey. Saying she was one of those, and then she goes, one day she goes out and fucking on patrol, she pulls out her fucking gun instead of her taser. I'll put money on that.
I mean, it could be as simple as that, Chris. But from what I heard, this is a small town. Like, even one of the experts that was talking to CNN, he's like, the one thing that you gotta, I'm not saying that she made him. I'm not saying that it absolves her, but this is a small town where they rarely probably see something like this happen. So, while I understand, like, yeah, it's tragic to lose another life. Yeah, it's tragic. It's not about this kid being black. It's about this kid resisted arrest, and this is the consequence of what happened. It's sad that the dude died, and I don't like that it happened either. But that doesn't mean the woman was like sitting there thinking like, is my taser here? Whatever. Like, in the heat of the moment, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, let's subdue this dude, get him under control if I can, and stop him from resisting arrest. Because here's the other thing, dude. What happens if this dude jumps in the car? There's a gun in the car, and now I got a gun. Now I'm in a whole different situation because I'm fighting for my life. Like,
yeah.
For me, man, like, I'm not saying that she should have shot the kid, but in the heat of the moment, are you really thinking that? No. And I don't take this as one of those, well, it's about a black person. It's not about a black person. And I also see like for example, I saw on Twitter, and one of the I want to say Gabrielle Union shared it, where like they were trying to, like, these police officers trying to seduce some white guy. He got away, got into the police car and sped away. And she's like, well, you see how the white dude was taken. I don't think these police officers are thinking, well, that dude's white, so I'm going to treat him differently than that black dude over there. If I've
seen plenty of videos of white, because there is this whole equivalency. Oh, well, if he was black, he would have been shot. And I swear to God, it reminds me of like when you were a kid and you ask your parents, like, can I go do something? And your parents say no, and they're like, well, Timmy's parents let them do it, and the parents are like, I'm not fucking Timmy's.
Exactly.
I'm not Timmy's mom. And it's like there's this weird sort of like false equivalency. Like, if he was white, if he was black, he would have gotten shot. And and don't get me wrong, I see plenty of videos where these guys resisting should have been shot. You know what I'm saying? Please plug a hole in this fucking cracker motherfucker. But it's why the cops didn't react the way they reacted, I don't know.
Well, and so
understand that you're at a disadvantage. Understand that for the time being, sociologically, you're at a disadvantage. Fucking play the fucking role.
I don't want to be one of these Trump dudes, and I hate to give them any like, yeah, you're saying something that's true, but Asians are being attacked by African Americans. And we don't say that, but we see it in the video and we know what's going on. So it's like, we can go different directions if we need to here. Like, we got to understand something. Like, we're coming out of a pandemic where, tensions are high. And I'm really, like, I said it the other day, like, if coming out of a pandemic means we're going to deal with all this crap and it's going to be even worse, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go back into I want to go back into being isolated, like, because there were no shootings. I mean, we've had so many mass shootings, like, we're not going to go into them, but, like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's like you're sitting here and you're looking at your computer screen, you're going, why is this happening? Like we shouldn't be going through all this bullshit. And the one, getting back to what policing, like, I'm really worried we're going to get into a point where where police officers are going to get hurt a lot. And it's going to be to the point where our police officers aren't going to be able to defend themselves. Like, the one thing that kills me about these laws that they want to put into effect, never once do I hear, and I know every single Congress and House member would vote for this, getting funding to every single police department for guns, or not guns, I'm sorry, for the body worn camera.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, the most neutral thing that you can give to a police officer that will either prove they are innocent or guilty is a cam. So why wouldn't you give federal funding every single police department to have body-worn cameras? Because here's the thing, we're talking 2021, and not every single police department has body-worn cameras. Like, that to me, for example, is one of the things that just makes me blows my mind, because I'm just like, I don't get how we're in 2021 and not every police department has that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, along with that federal, we say to these police officers, unless there's a malfunction with your camera at the time that happens and we prove it, if your cam's not on and something happens, you're going to jail. Like, it's that simple. It's that fucking simple. And I don't understand why we can't be simple in this country. Do the simple things that we can get done. Do the things that make sense. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's just kind of my point. I mean, this kid, it's tragic. The kid died. He had a kid. I think it was a girlfriend. I don't know if it was a wife. But at the end of the day, if you're resisting arrest and something happens to you, I hate to tell you, but you resisted arrest. It's not like this woman was going out to kill you. This woman shot you because you were resisting arrest. Like, you didn't comply.
Yeah,
this is a classic example.
I mean, it's not like I'm the world's most fucking street savvy person or whatever, but it's the law of, like I said before,
law of the land.
Is whoever has the gun wins the argument. I mean,
it's not even that, Chris. It's not even that. It's we have laws in this country. Police officer, if you're being arrested for something, and clearly this kid was being arrested for, it shows it on the body cam. Like, why do you then, oh, well, I'm going to run away from the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
You do that, I'm going to obviously automatically think you're a threat. And to be honest with you, even if I had a taser, I'd probably pull out my gun and be like, you need to get the hell out of the car right now, or I will shoot you.
Well, it's like, if you flip, if you're getting mugged, you know what I'm saying? And I know that's another equivalent, I'm doing the equivalency to cops and criminals. But I'm just saying, is if someone has a gun and they say, get out of the car, and they're there to take your car, get the fuck out of the car. Let them. You're not going to win unless you happen to have a gun on you also. You're not going to win. Let and the same thing with a cop, And once again, people need to get out of their heads that cops wake up all day, every day saying, oh, today's the day we kill a black person. If the cops say you get the fuck out of the car, get the fuck out of the car. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe that makes me sound like a fucking bootlicker or whatever, then I'm a fucking bootlicker. I love the taste of fucking shoe shine. But I haven't gotten shot. I don't fear for my life to get pulled over, and I do understand my privilege and stuff like that because of the color. And I understand that, but also just common sense saying I'm not going to do certain things. If a cop says get the fuck out of the car, I get out of the car. Because Rochester does now has an awful rash of fucking carjackings, which is the thing which is happening in Rochester right now.
I think they've caught the people so far. So.
Well, a woman was just last night. I mean, according to the news, I was watching the news before the podcast. If a guy comes up to my car at fucking the traffic light, is get out of the car. Guess what the fuck I'm doing? I'm getting the fuck out of the car. Yeah, I have, well, the car has OnStar, so, but, then I'm not gonna argue with the person with the gun. My survival instincts, the way I was raised is you don't, and this is not the time to make a fucking stink. I'll live to
just
survive
call
another
911.
day. Exactly.
I'll be like, here's the phone. Would you like to tell them what you're doing?
Have the car, and then later on, then when the cops get my car later on after, use the GPS or whatever, then that's another story. But the time being, you want the car, you can have the car. You want me to get out of the car? I'll get the fuck out of the car. Survival instinct says don't argue with. Let's move on because I think we're beating a dead horse. Dogecoin, and I had mentioned this. Oh no, there was anything else you wanted to talk about before?
No, I'm good. Keep going.
No, the Dogecoin, which I'm fucking kicking myself. Because and so there was a thing a couple months back about the GameStop stocks that all these guys they had the hedge fund that these people colluded against and kind of bankrupted a fucking hedge fund. Then the next thing that was sort of being the big push was Dogecoin, an equivalent to a Bitcoin where it's cryptocurrency. There's a whole chain, the blockchains, and it's all stuff that's recorded online and stuff like that. And it has value because people give it value. I mean, same thing with real paper money. It's a concept in our head of what has money, And so Bitcoins, which have been around for years, I was watching this video where this girl, the guy gave her a Bitcoin back in 2013, and she had forgotten all about it, and then she looked it up now, and one Bitcoin, $30,000, some ridiculous amount of just one. And so now this new thing is one of the new things called the Dogecoin. Doge being sound like a dog coin, which sort of started as a joke. It's sort of like mocking Bitcoin, but it was one of those things where people started taking it fucking seriously. And now Dogecoin is starting to pick up the pace. Now, I am kind of kicking myself because I did buy some Dogecoin, but then I sold it because I needed some money for my car. And I'm kicking myself now because as we're recording this, when the GameStonks thing happened, Dogecoin was at 2 cents. Now it's at 30 cents. So I would have had I sold it today, I would have made 15%. I would have times 15, whatever. And I only had $200-300, but I needed that money for my car. And also, that being said, I had it done through the Robinhood app. And let me tell you, Robinhood is
sketchy.
They're very sketchy, and what they do is sort of and don't be wrong, you sit there and you kind of agree to play by their rules in the beginning. So, I had put money into and I needed to take money out for my car. I still haven't gotten all my money out of it yet. They hold on to your fucking money. A lot of people think it's a quick pump and dump thing where Robinhood doesn't let you do that. You can't just put money on it, then it goes up and then you sell it tomorrow. They make you wait days and days and days for a transaction to go through. And they do it on purpose. And once again, I know I've put more, and it's weird because I have my portfolio, and it lets me know what my portfolio is, but I can't touch that money right now. It's a very, and then, so I was looking to, now, and once again, when you buy Dogecoin through Robinhood, you don't really own the Dogecoin. You're buying it through them, and they're buying it, if that makes any sense. You're not buying it directly. So I said, okay, let me go and I try to look up getting Dogecoin for myself, go to the source. And it's weird because in New York State, you can't buy Dogecoin. There's the big website called Binance, and it sounds like I'm speaking Greek. Dogecoin, Binance. They will not let you buy Dogecoin if you live in New York. And I don't know why. It's a weird fucking thing. And I don't want to fucking, I don't want to hook up with other people and try to start an account in another state and like that. So I can't. So what I have been doing recently is I have been mining. I've been doing the Dogecoin mining, which once again, it's a bit of a scam because, you mine, and you don't get your money until you hit $50, for lack of a better term. And it takes even in a day, you won't make $1. You know what I'm saying? And I got, I got my computer running and shit like that. So, I mean, and then plus, what I think what they're doing is, they're mining and and they even say, they keep a percentage. That's what they do. They keep 1% of whatever you're mining, the apps that you use. So I've been trying to get into it or whatever, but I am kind of kicking myself because, had I not needed that money for and it's not like I pulled it out because it's a goof off. I needed money for my car. I fucking, I had to pull it out, so now I'm kicking myself because, it would have been about the equivalent to about $3,000 or something like that. But it is what it is. I'm still mine, so hopefully, and the stuff that mine, I'm not going to get rid of. The stuff of mine, I'm going to hold on to, and then, like the people with Bitcoin, 13 years from now or whatever, maybe I'll have some good money. But so there's that. Bernie Madoff is dead. Good. I hope he's burning hell. Prince Philip, and I posted about this on Facebook. He died, and I did not know the Queen of England was married. I thought she was just an old lady who lived in a castle. I knew she had kids and shit like that. For some reason, it just never clicked in my head that she was married. But, whenever they refer to Prince Philip, when I hear Prince, if you're married to the Queen, you should be king. Whether or not, but then again, I don't know their stupid fucking rule there, and that's the whole reason we fucking had the Boston Tea Party. We don't have to deal with. But Prince Philip died at 99. The guy looked like an inbred piece of shit anyway. And then, like, I was watching this thing, and it's sort of like when he was 17, he met the Queen when she's 14. And it's all those are prearranged marriages anyway, but they were like hooking up when she was 14 and he was 17, which is just, it's, of course it's how they rearrange they arrange marriages, but, and speaking of, that helps me get to my next story, and then we'll go to break right after this. Speaking about 17-year-olds and 14-year-olds, the Cash Me Outside girl, Danielle Bregoli, the girl who got famous for going on Dr. Phil and saying, "Cash me outside, how about that?" turned 18 in the past month or so. Went on OnlyFans, and trust me, I have my sources, has yet to...
Made a shitload of money.
Made $1 million in 6 hours. Now, when she first became famous, and it was in that transition time when Jen was sort of co-hosting the podcast, and I was trying to explain to her, I was like, she is only famous because she has big giant tits. Could we fucking be real about that? Like, Jen was like, I don't know why she's famous. Yeah, she's famous because, yes, we have all those people that there's millions of YouTube clips online that have, like, people who get, do stupid shit on Maury Povich or do stupid shit on Dr. Phil or do stupid shit on any talk show during the day. She was famous because she had giant fucking tits at 14 or 15 or whatever the fuck. Call me a dirty old man or whatever. You don't catch the attention of the world. Had she been 300 pounds, she would not be famous. Had she had those same big tits at fucking 300 pounds, no one would have cared. She looked like a porn star at fucking 14 years old. Let's call it what it is. And so then, she got a fucking rap contract and all this shit. And it's one of those deals where, like, she had notoriety, and nowadays, for you to get a contract, you just need a gimmick. Every rapper, every band, every performer, for lack of a better term, he needs a gimmick. And she was the Cash Me Outside girl. She was Bad Baby, and she did all this stupid repetitive music or whatever. But it goes to show you that the minute she turned 18 and she was able to fucking cash in on the fucking thirst of millions of fucking horny old men or whatever, made $1 million in 6 hours. And mind you, she has yet to post a nude photo. And it's not, trust me, I'm not saying this because I did not join her or anything like that. But, I know people. I know people who know people. And the internet being the way it is, she has yet to... And it's all, I've known there's pictures of, like, her, like, with her hand over her tits and like that, or covering her nipples or like that. But, it goes to show you that, in a world where, like, you got Bad Baby or, like, Belle Delphine, that's another one, saying where, like, she looks young. She has fucking braces, for Christ's sake. There is a fucking market for that out there. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real. And the money talks. You don't make $1 million in 6 hours the day you turn 18 without proving that there's there was an audience out there that's willing to pay. And she had like a ridiculous OnlyFans also. Like, when, a regular OnlyFans girl's like $10 a month or $5 a month or whatever. Hers is like $25 a month. Like, she was charging like 2 or 3 times what the average, OnlyFans person charges. And people were paying it to the point where she made $1 million in 6 hours. So it just goes to show you fucking the disgusting, depraved old men out there. And that's like I was trying to explain to Jen. Yeah, she's famous because she has big, giant fucking tits. And that's, that's all you need, apparently. An attitude, she had a gimmick of Cash Me Outside. She had a catchphrase and big tits, And the horny old guys fucking made her a millionaire.
I didn't notice that, but I guess I just thought that maybe old men just really wanted, what was she, 14 at the time when that happened? I think just old men really had a thirst for, I guess.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's right or whatever. We're all fucking creeps and shit. Once again, had she been 300 pounds, she would have had her 5 minutes of fame, with the Cash Me Outside or whatever, and then she would have faded away. But she kept her fame because fucking had a porn star body, before, and look at, and I may sound like a sick fuck for talking about it, but I mean, it's not like there aren't 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds out there fucking. 15 and 16-year-old kids are out there fucking right now. There are 16-year-old mothers out there. There's a whole show on MTV called 16 and Pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, it's not like they're stealing the innocence of this young girl or whatever. It's dummies who have the opportunity to be sexually active, and they can and they do, and shit like this happens. Luckily she hasn't been, surprisingly enough, she hasn't been knocked up before, since she was 4. And she hangs out with a bunch of rappers and stuff like that, because I follow her on her Instagram because she's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And I'm surprised. I mean, she might have had a couple scare, or maybe she's on birth control and hasn't gotten a blood clot yet. But it just goes to prove that men are horrible, disgusting, evil animals. And the minute she turns 18, we made her a millionaire. But she was technically already a millionaire before that because she had record contracts and shit.
I can't remember what her name is, but there was that one Disney chick. I can't think of her name. She still has an OnlyFans too.
Yeah, and her thing was like the regular girls. I'm gonna look it up right now. The regular average girl on OnlyFans were mad at her because she was like, "Oh, you're gonna be a celebrity and come on to OnlyFans when this is supposed to be." But let me tell you, the same shit happened back in the day, like years ago. I want to say, and this before you started the pod. Bella Thorne, that's the name of the girl you're talking about.
Yeah,
Bella Thorne, who was from Disney. Now, back in the day, like right before you joined the podcast. I started a Kickstarter to see if I could raise money to get a new laptop, and it was right around that time when I started the Kickstarter where the actor from Scrubs he started a Kickstarter to finance his movie, and I'm like, motherfucker, you're in Hollywood, you're already in the machine. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but you have a face that people know and recognize. And it would have been very easy for you to find producers for your movie. Why are you coming to Kickstarter when Kickstarter is supposed to be for the average person who don't have those kind of resources and shit like that? And it was the same thing with Bella Thorne. She came from Disney. She kind of had that reputation, and then she went on OnlyFans. And it's the same thing. All of these girls are doing the same thing. None of them are actually getting naked. It's the girls, the $5 a month nobodies that are getting naked. The celebrities, it's all lewd photos, not nude photo. They'll cover their nipples. Oh, here's the crack of my ass. And some guys, I'm not an ass man. I don't give. But here's my bare ass. Here's me with my hands over my nipples. Here's me, just out of the shower. And it's, and then they send you messages every day. What's your favorite sex position and shit like that. And then like the funny thing, and don't ask me how I know all this, but like for you to write back to them to send them the answer, they charge you $5 just to fucking write them back. You know what I'm saying? They nickel and dime you. You join the OnlyFans, and then what they'll do is. Okay, so let's just say you joined the Bad Baby OnlyFans. You paid the $25. Then she'll go, oh, here's a video of me in my underwear walking around my closet, my walk-in closet or whatever. But you got to pay another $10 for that video. And there's guys who are fucking paying it. So don't ask me how I know that. But yeah. I mean that's how it works. And so and then guys are at home and they're in the quarantine. They haven't been around another live human being in a minute. They're horny and they'll pay $1 million to an 18-year-old.
I mean, listen, like I'm not gonna knock somebody. Like, I mean, you see how stupid America is now. So I mean, if I was, I wasn't making a shitload of money.
I mean, hey, look, people are not working.
Yeah,
they're literally saying it's a problem now where places of employment are trying hard to find employees, but people are making more money sitting at home collecting fucking unemployment.
Well,
because they're getting the PUA.
I'm not going to go into that too, but the problem with that is I hate when people start talking about that bullshit, because there are people like me who are on unemployment because we're furloughed. Mm-hmm. And then there's other people that are on unemployment. And that, by the way, this is the majority of people, mind you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's people that are staying on unemployment because they lost their job, and the people that are hiring all these fucking minimum wage jobs. Who the fuck wants to go work at a restaurant and get COVID? Who the fuck wants to go to Joe Smo shop and make minimum wage? Like, I mean, I completely understand that, Chris, Mm-hmm. And fuck, you got till September to find a job now. Like, fucking You know, if you can't find a job, get paid what you should be making, and find a job. Me, I'm going back in May. I'm going back in another month or so. I'm good. I'll be off of unemployment. Trust me, I didn't want to be unemployed.
Well, no, it's not. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not saying like people are milking the system to stay on unemployment, but these people that are hiring aren't giving. They're not offering enough money to entice
that's the
people.
problem.
And
That's
like,
the problem. They're not.
If I can stay home and
offering
sit on my ass and collect money, then I'd rather sit home and ass than fucking go and.
I mean, that's part of the problem, Chris. Is these places don't want to spend the money to get people to come.
Mm-hmm.
If you want employees to work for you, compete. If you're gonna have to compete with unemployment, so if you have to pay a fucking employee $18 an hour, guess what? Pay the fucking employee $18 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is, man. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. With that, we'll be back with more Dim Fart Joke.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough
How did you watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for exclusive events. Only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
And we're back. All right, Paul. So that was a good first half of the show. Let's get to the nerdy news. I don't have a lot this week. As we're recording this for the anniversary, not a lot has happened in the way of nerdy news. So while we were recording the last episode, I literally as we were recording the last episode, I was in the middle of watching Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max. I paused it, we recorded, I went back. As soon as we finished recording, I went back to did you see it?
I haven't seen it, no.
Oh, it is so good. It is so good. It's goofy as fuck. It is not serious at all. Where Godzilla 2014 was trying so hard to be fucking serious. Godzilla King of Monsters was serious, but it was also with all the monsters and shit like that, holy shit. It was, it was a spectacle. And I'll give King of Monsters its respect that when it came to fucking giant monsters fighting, it was a giant, beautiful, they were fighting in the dark and there was lightning and rain and all this other shit. But I'm saying is it was eye candy to watch, in my opinion. Godzilla vs. Kong throws all that shit out the window and I mean that in the best possible way where it's a fun fucking movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But I guess if you haven't seen it yet, don't give a shit about it. But it's fun. Okay, spoiler. They do introduce Mecha Godzilla into it. So you got Kong, you got Mecha Godzilla, you got Godzilla. The parts with the people are because usually that's the every Godzilla movie you watch and you the fucking parts of the people you want to gouge your fucking eyes out, because the movie's called Godzilla versus Kong. It's not Japanese soldiers running away. I didn't give a shit. I could give two shits about the military. I could give two shits about the scientists or people trying to break into whatever. At least this movie, they kind of made it interesting. There's this whole goofy subplot where it's the girl from Stranger Things, the kid from Deadpool 2, and the guy, I believe he was on that show Atlanta. He played a character called Paperboy, and so like it's those three, and like the Paperboy, he's like a conspiracy theorist, like and people in this world know about kaijus and shit like that, but like he's trying to expose like the company for some secrets that they're hiding and shit like that, which I think was like for them building Mechagodzilla, it was like the good project no one would know about, and a couple other things. And so like they're sort of they get stuck in this this little subplot, and it follows them. And once again, like I could give two shits about all that, but at least it was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like they even the guy who played Paperboy, they interviewed him. They said they called that the Goonies section, because that's what it felt fun. It was light. It was airy. And of course, yes, there was a whole military situation where these people they're supplying the military with these machines, because apparently like all the kaijus come from in King of Monsters, there's ones that are aliens, but like all these giant monsters come from like the center of the Earth, the hollow Earth they call it. So like ones we've seen like Godzilla and King Kong, they've come up through the cracks, they've come up through holes and shit like that, and or they've or their parents, so like they've come from everything, or all these giant kaijus originate from the hollow Earth or whatever. Which I think it's very smart, because this is all the studio's legendary, and they're really trying their hardest to fucking connect these movies to Pacific Rim. So at least now, when Pacific Rim they thought it was a portal to another universe at the bottom of the ocean or shit like that, they can say, oh no, it wasn't a portal to another universe, it was a portal to the hollow Earth. And then like Mechagodzilla was kind of like the first Jaeger, like in Pacific Rim they called the big giant robots Jaegers. So Mechagodzilla was sort of like the first version of a Jaeger and shit like, then they have to figure out another way to operate it, because Mechagodzilla loses. Spoiler. So I dug it. I just thought for a goofy, and I'm glad they didn't take it serious. It was very fun. It's definitely like a blockbuster. I'm glad I saw it. I kind of wish they kind of held off a little bit more and had that let that be the movie that sort of like when every state now makes it available for theaters to be open, like that would have been the movie to like save the industry or whatever, because it could have. And the funny thing is that like right as of right now, like they are giving it at the local drive-in by us, and I mean I will probably probably sometime soon go see it in the drive-in, because they have double feature. The last time I saw it was like Godzilla and Kong, and that movie Nobody, which is the guy from Better Call Saul, where he's kind of like doing like a John Wick thing. And he's a nobody, and then but then like he's actually very trained or something. So I'll go see Nobody and Godzilla versus Kong at the fucking drive-in. Okay, why not? Okay, what else? There's no official word yet, but the rumors are that we might have a New York Comic Con this year. I think they are heavily relying on an online element, because even if they do have it this year, it's going to be in reduced numbers. There's no way it's going to be as large as it was in the past.
Oh, no, not a lot of people do that. Yeah.
I mean, people who don't want to go, but I'm so fucking thirsty. I'm so thirsty for New York Comic Con that like shit, I got my vaccination, let's go. I'm ready to fucking take that risk. And I know I talked a lot of shit about like people who are like going out now, but then again, I'm also talking about something that's happening in like literally over 6 months. We'll have the whole summer to see where the numbers are going and shit like. And once again, I mean, I got nothing to lose. If I get a press pass and then I decide to change my mind at the last minute, I'm not losing any money. I'm not losing a dime. But as of right now, I'm certainly planning on going to New York Comic Con. And I don't know what the restrictions are, because I don't know what it's going to be when it comes to when interviewing people, because shit, whenever we were doing the interviews and shit like that, those people are packed in rooms and shit like. So I mean, they may change the rules and everything, but I mean, I'm super excited. And once again, I think they're gonna, along with San Diego Comic-Con, they're going to compensate by having a large online presence. And all this stuff isn't known, because we usually get our stuff like around May. Because it's like 6 months. It's usually about 6 months before Comic-Con. We start getting a million emails and shit like that, which I haven't gotten an email yet, but there's our articles saying, they're certainly looking into it. And once again, we have 6 months to get more of our shit together where Comic-Con becomes a lot more feasible. People get their shots, even the people who are like, I don't need my shots. People get their shots, and hopefully we can get to, and hey, if need be, like, oh, we need you to take a picture of your fucking vaccinations and email to us, I will I'll blow it up as a poster size and wear it on my chest. I'll wear my vaccines with my fucking press pass over my chest. I'm clean, people. I got enough dirty shit, but well, actually, no, I'm not. I have no STDs according to my doctor, but you know what I mean. So I'm super excited for the possibility of New York Comic Con. Once again, well over 6 months away. 6 months of people getting their shit together and shit in order. Super excited. Alfred Molina, the gentleman who played Dr. Octopus in the 2004 Spider-Man 2, directed by Sam Raimi, was interviewed, and I guess apparently like the Disney Marvel lawyers didn't get to him, because apparently he had an interview where like he revealed a lot of shit. Well, first and foremost, he hasn't even been officially confirmed to be in Spider-Man No Way Home, the third Spider-Man Disney Marvel movie, or should I say Sony Disney Marvel movie. But he hasn't even been officially confirmed yet, and he basically in an interview said, "Yep, I'm in the movie, and it's been 18 years since I've worn this outfit or whatever. But it's all gonna be. I think it's all CGI in this one. I just have to sit here and and look like I'm moving my body where the tentacles are doing their thing. So but once again, like, he's an older guy. Like, what are they going to do to him? Like, what are you going to do? Say I can't do this anymore? Or say I can't work for Disney anymore? Like, he's an old. You can tell Disney to go fuck themselves. I mean, I hope they don't do anything stupid. I hope like they don't cut him out of the movie like that. And he didn't speak to fuck Disney. Like, he's not doing it to, and if anything, people are talking about it now. So it's almost like a backwards promotional thing. Sort of like when they leaked the Deadpool, the Deadpool preview or whatever, the proof of concept video. It's just getting more people thinking about it, and I'm certainly excited about hearing that Alfred Molina, because you and I are pretty much in agreement that that's like one of the, if not the best Spider-Man movie, one of the top Spider-Man movies. So
yeah, that was definitely one of the best ones. Yeah, I'm
super excited to first to just hear that he's in it and he's Doc Ock, and I think what they're gonna do is they sort of. There's a little bit more, but just for the reasons I don't want to spoil it, I heard a little bit more about how he becomes to be in the movie, but I don't want to talk about it on the podcast. I don't want to spoil that part for him, but he is in it, but I think it relates to the whole, the same way they had J. Jonah Jameson. Like, we saw J. Jonah Jameson, played by, oh my God, what's his name? J.K. Simmons, but he didn't look like he did in the Sam Raimi movie. So it's J. Jonah Jameson, but it's almost like a J. Jonah Jameson from a different universe. So the same thing, he can be Doc Ock from a different universe. He could be Doc Ock from the Sam Raimi universe, which would be different from a Doc Ock that would be in the Sony Disney Marvel universe. So, I mean, and once again, which sort of confirms the multiverse, which we all know was going to happen anyway. But, I mean, if they're having Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, I mean, obviously there's a multiverse. But I'm super excited about it. I don't know if you saw did you see the trailer for Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's of the Dead?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Yeah, it looks so fun.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
And the whole thing is that, like, I mean, I know we're still fresh off like released Snyder Cut and everything like that. Zack Snyder does bleak good. He does dark good. I mean, when I say dark, I'm not physically dark. But I mean, he does movies that are fucking sad and depressing and I mean, the action's great. I mean, the remake of Dawn of the Dead was fucking fantastic. So, this is going to be one of those movies. Guys, mercenaries in Vegas, wild zombies. I think they're supposed to be like smart zombies or whatever the case may be, but, this movie has a lot of style to it. Once again, right up Zack Snyder's alley. It seems like a dark movie, I'm saying? I think pretty much all the fucking heroes are gonna die. Once again, right up Zack Snyder's alley. But it's also, it looks action packed. It looks like it's gonna be fun. Dark but fun. He doesn't. I don't think he should have ever had touched any of the Superman movies. But Watchmen, 300, even Justice League. He kind of redeemed himself with the Snyder Cut. Like having characters that, when the Joss Whedon version, like Flash and Cyborg were sort of jokes and stuff like that, kind of gave us more intensity and made them more valid to story when his version, as opposed to Joss Whedon version. Army of the Dead looks really good. It comes out really soon, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we were talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. The new Mortal Kombat movie should be on HBO Max in a couple of days. I think before the month is over. They pushed it back because Godzilla vs. Kong was so well, and it's sort of like I want the trailers are doing nothing for me for this new Mortal Kombat movie.
I actually think it's gonna be good, dude.
I mean, I hope so. Or maybe it's just me, But I remember they had there were people who were sort of doing an independent movie online almost. There were people people making movies online. It was on YouTube. There were little clips of I forgot what the hell it was called. I don't know. All I'm saying is, I mean, of course I'm gonna watch it and shit and I still have a special place in my heart for the first Mortal Kombat movie. But it's sort of I don't want to say it looks bad, but it looks bad. I don't know. I want it to good. I want to be excited about it, and you think I would. It's right in my wheelhouse, but no.
I think you're gonna be wrong about that one.
Please let me be wrong. Of course, the passing of DMX, Darkman X. It's funny when you go back and you look at '98 and 2004. He was releasing 2 albums a year, and I think he was the first artist ever to have 2 albums go platinum in this year, if I'm not mistaken. But back in the early 2000s, and that's when he was doing Romeo Must Die, and what's the other Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal, and Exit Wounds, and there was one other movie that he did with Jet Li. Whatever. But I'm just saying is, there was a time where he was on top of the world, doing drugs, and that's what fucking kills me. I guess all the fame and money in the world and shit like that, if he overdosed, and it to the point where, it just goes to show you that, when you have your fucking demons, man, you can't fucking, all the fame and money and fortune, love in the world doesn't change it. Because, I really liked, the one album he had was It's Dark and Hell is Hot. That was a great fucking album. And when that came out, I had that on cassette to show you how long ago it was. I had a cassette, bumped the shit in my car all the time. I wasn't the biggest DMX fan. Of course, I like Party Up in Here. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. And even to this day, X Gonna Give It to You. They used them with Rick and Morty and Deadpool. That song was such a fucking anthem that they used it. They still use it 20 years later and still get you fucking hyped up. But I mean, rest in peace, DMX. He seemed like one of those. He had a lot of, I mean, he did have a lot of anti-gay. When you listen to his shit now, he had a lot of lyrics that are anti-gay, and was, of course it was a different time 20 years ago when those albums came out and shit like that. And I'm glad he wasn't officially canceled because of shit like that. Of course that comes along with the whole street bravado thing of I'm a tough guy or whatever, but it was, I mean, I hate to say that doth protest too much. You keep screaming about how not gay you are, so usually that means that there's something you might be gay. But I don't know. I don't know. He did have a lot of anti-gay fucking licks, which sort of once again nowadays it will probably get you canceled and shit like that. But I'm just glad he wasn't canceled or he died with that. Okay, a couple more things. They had WrestleMania the other day. And I guess now Peacock bought out the WWE or something. Not that they buy it out, but I mean the new contract.
They bought out the network, basically.
Yeah, so I think it's smart. I'm saying nowadays cable isn't what it used to be. So I mean I know they still have Raw and shit like that, which nowadays you go watch Raw and you go watch SmackDown the next day on Hulu and shit like that. But on, for them, it was so smart for them to have WrestleMania on Peacock because I actually watched it. And mind you, I used to be a diehard WrestleMania fan. I went to WrestleMania 20. When I was a kid, I was lucky enough a couple times to go to Madison Square Garden to see wrestling. And even in my later teens or whatever, I used to go when they played in Nassau Coliseum. I went a couple times with my friends and stuff like that. We drove out to Long Island. But I haven't watched it in years. And let me tell you, I watched it the other day and I was thoroughly entertained. I mean, it's the Danielle Bryan who I fucking can't. But and it was a 2-night event. They had it was 6 hours all day. It was 3 hours Saturday, 3 hours. The one thing I loved was, and I do the stuff I know about wrestling is because I see people post about it online. So even though I don't officially watch wrestling, I get informed about it because other people talk about it. But there's that girl Bailey, who was a couple years ago, she was sort of the baby face, and she was goofy, silly, really full of energy, peppy girl or whatever. Then she had a heel turn where she turned bad and stuff like that and turned into a bitch. And so now that Bailey is almost like a Karen, Like they gave her the haircut and everything, where she has like a Karen haircut and she's getting into people's faces. It reminds me of like when Eddie Guerrero's wife, like 'cause after Eddie Guerrero died, like they didn't want to watch his family go broke, so they kind of gave his wife a job on WWE, and it was her whole thing was sort of being that loud, shrill, annoying woman that everyone hates. So Bailey sort of filled that spot where they literally made her into a Karen, where she has like glasses and the Karen haircut, which I think is fucking brilliant. I think it's very funny, and and Bailey's a likable character, so she knows, she's entertaining enough where she can pull off the character that you hate, and the best wrestlers are the ones you hate, the ones you want to see them get drop kick shit. I thought that was really. I think, I don't know, since the last time we recorded the Suicide Squad trailer, the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, which we don't know exactly how it's related to the first Suicide Squad, but it still has like Rick Flag. I want to say Randall Flagg, but I know that's from this. So is the Harley Quinn. So there's a couple characters that carried over, but I don't know if this is officially connected to the other Squad. It still has the woman who played Amanda Waller. So there's still like, Rick Flag. I want to say Rick Flag. I keep Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, and Amanda Waller. So all those characters are back, but I don't know if it's connected. If it's supposed to be connected to the other Suicide Squad. It might be, it might not be. I don't know. It's going to be in a weird sort of limbo where, all the parts you like, yeah, it's connected. The parts you don't like, it's not connected. But, I like James Gunn. James Gunn makes great movies. I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They're bringing a character, Starro, which was, is a big giant star, which is like from like the early Superman comics, was character Starro, which was like, because like in early Superman comics, like Superman collected aliens from other universes and shit, like other planets and shit. He kind of like, in his Fortress of Solitude, he had like a zoo, for the lack of a better term. And I think it was one of those deals where since he was like the last of Krypton, all the animals he kept in his zoo were like also like the last of their race or whatever. Like he was sort of preserving them and shit. And Starro was one of those characters with weird cosmic starfish that I think can read minds. Little Starros come jumping out of its body and shit like that. And there's a big eye in the middle. So James Gunn made that like, it looks like that's it's not the last big bad boss, but he said, let's fucking have a big giant kaiju in a superhero movie, which I think is pretty funny, and especially as a goofy ass character as Starro is, to take it seriously in a movie. So that looks exciting. Okay, two more things. Batman: The Long Halloween. I don't know too much about it, but the DC animated movies never fail, based on the Long Halloween comic book, which is sort of weird because I think the Matt Reeves Batman movie that's coming up is also somewhat based in the Long Halloween, or has roots in it, even though it's not like a direct translation, it has roots in it. So at least we'll probably get a taste of what's going to be in the Matt Reeves movie, the one with Robert Pattinson, if you watch and it's going to be broken up into two pieces. So part one comes out soon. Like I said, DC movies don't fail. The sad thing is, the girl who was on Glee that drowned in a boat a couple months back.
Yeah.
She was the voice of, like, she recorded the voice of Catwoman. So I mean, it's a shame that I'm glad they kept her and stuff like that, but I guess she could have had a career doing voiceovers and stuff like that, but unfortunately, her tragic death. And then my last thing I want to talk about was, and this is, I want to enjoy it. I'm rolling my eyes. The Ghostbusters Afterlife teaser. Now they put out a couple months back where it's like the kids and the kid finds the proton pack and the trap in his basement or whatever, and it's supposed to be like, I think it's like Egon's grandkids or some shit. And so they had that trailer a while back. And one thing I do like about the Ghostbusters movies, they're goofy, like they get silly, but they also, like, when it comes to the ghosts and shit like that, they kind of make them serious and stuff like that. And when you watch the trailer, it almost looks like you're watching like the beginning. It looks like you're watching a trailer for a horror movie. But then they had this scene with what's his face, Ant-Man, and he's in a supermarket, and they have little baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. Like, for some reason, whatever, it's ghost activity or whatever the case. And somewhat related to the first movie, but like, do we really need, like, this is it's sort of pandering. It reminds me of like Baby Groot and Baby Yoda, like where they have to have this cute CGI character in the movie so like kids can like it, or people like you're like people's girlfriends like who don't give a shit about Ghostbusters, like, oh, I like the baby Stay Puft. Like, it seems like such a fucking pandering move for them to put that, and it like fucking angers me because like I'm gonna go see Ghostbusters anyway. I like the movies. I trust Ivan Reitman's son, because he wrote and directed it. I trust him. He's done some good movies. But when I see this shit, I'm like, oh god, I wonder if this was like a studio thing, like, oh, we need like a character for, that we can make toys for them and for the kids so we can put in fucking Happy Meals so kids can go out and go see Ghostbusters. I'm hoping it's like a small part of the movie. I hope it's not, but it's like, but then again, The Mandalorian was a great show, even though it had Baby Yoda in it also. So maybe it'll be something like that, where like it's there to kind of sucker in the people who aren't big fans into watching it. Because once again, the Mandalorian was great, even though Baby Yoda seemed very fucking pandering. So I'm hoping they do it right. And like I said, I trust Ivan Reitman's son, but just when I saw that, I just rolled my fucking I saw my brain, I rolled my eyes so fucking. Anything else before we call it a night?
No, that's it.
Let's wrap this up.
That's what she said.
Please visit twostrangersonePodcast.net and .com for all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes page. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can subscribe to us on iTunes and get all the brand new episodes as soon as they come out. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod and have an Android device, you'll find us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHR, the Stitcher app for Android devices. Where if you're someone, now mind you, I have been on furlough for over a year now, but when I was out and about, I'd put listen offline, listen later, and available offline. So you download all the podcasts you listen to, and while you're out and about running your errands, or maybe what I will be doing when I'm out exercising, if I ever get around to doing that, you can listen to your podcast, without killing your data or killing your battery by downloading it while you're at home in your Wi-Fi spot. No Oscar letter this week, but I did work on the quality of the last episode, and I got the heavy breathing off. I figured out how to get it off. So you can use Stitcher if you have an Android device, or you can go right to the source and find us on SoundCloud. Search Two Strangers One Podcast. I make every episode available for download there. So for whatever reason you don't have a subscription service, you can download each as you like. We want your money. We need your money. And even though I have plenty of time on my hands, but I'm working on other creative projects that I haven't really spoken about. But it takes 2 seconds to like and subscribe to us on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/twostrangersonePodcast. Like the page, share the page, share the episode, like the episode, all that good stuff on Facebook. You can do it that way. If you want to write to us, like the last episode when I got cursed out by Oscar, who we thought was dead, and I thought maybe COVID finally got to him. If you want to curse us out, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com, spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com, and curse me out like Oscar does. What else? We're on Twitter. You can stop at @StrangerPodcast. I don't do too much activity on Twitter, but we are there. And of course, a lot of things on Twitter. My Stranger Vlogs. I've been coming up with ideas for Stranger Vlogs. I just haven't had a chance to really sit down and record them. I want to script these ones up. My last Stranger Vlogs are sort of just like me talking off the top of my head. I kind of want to script these, but I kind of have a couple of good ones in my mind to talk about. And so I'm going to probably start bringing that back. You have my audiobook, Odd I See a Tale from the Road. You can listen to the audiobook of my second novel on YouTube. Just search for Two Strangers Podcast. And you can find all the episodes. That's what it is. We've been on SoundCloud for about 4 years now. Any episode before that, once again, we're on our 9-year anniversary. So if you want to hear the first 5 years of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can find us all on YouTube. Just look up Two Strangers One Podcast. I get a dime every time I say that. No, I don't. I will. You can find my audiobook, Odd I See a Tale from the Road. You can find 3 of my albums, and I've been working on a 4th album. Actually, I'm almost pretty much done with it. Of electronic music. I just have to make videos for it so I can upload them, but you can listen to my first 3 albums worth of music under my name XLNYC on YouTube, and of course on Stitcher. I mentioned earlier you can find pretty much every podcast worth listening to, except for the Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan went over to Spotify, and you can only find him on Spotify now. But any podcast worth listening, including Paul's other baby, the Tsunami Faithful podcast, are all available on Stitcher. And I can't think of anything else I acquiesce to 40.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pasquillo. You can email me, paulpasquillo@tsunamifaithful.com. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. And I told Paul, this is going to be a quick episode, probably about an hour. We are almost 2 hours later. We certainly hope you enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
You should be fapping. She's 18 now.
God.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double jackpot.
What is it? It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with the materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
yeah,
man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15, and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will totally read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonePodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.